So Zebec actually did it. What do I mean by this? They actually appeared in a soccer match between Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich, in which case, they said they were going to do that, and they actually did it. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'll talk about the price of ZBCN soon, but when I take a look at that right there, I just thought it was pretty awesome. Now, initially, I watched the highlights and I couldn't see it at all. And then I had to look a little bit further, and then I saw like some people post pictures of it, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even notice it. So it was very brief, if anything, right? But it's still, it's there, right? So I think that's a pretty cool thing at the end of the day. Now, personally, how much is that really going to help Zebec? Did it really move the needle when it comes to the price of ZBCN? Nah, not really. I mean, it didn't really do much. And if I'm not specifically paying attention to that, I wouldn't have noticed it. But you know what? They still did that anyways, right? So I still think it's pretty cool. A lot more than what can be said for a lot of other projects out there that have completely went radio silent. At least when it comes to Zebec, they're still doing something, still appearing, so I do like seeing that. Now, also on top of that, though, when it comes to that match right there, what was more popular was like Coinbase, because Coinbase was just like there the whole time. I could see it. But yeah, Zebec was just a little bit kind of more hidden, I would say. Not hidden in a sense where I couldn't see it, but it was just very brief, so I didn't really see that initially. And by the way, the reason why I'm not showing the picture of what I saw in the soccer match is because I don't own the picture, right? So if I put it, there might be issues. Yeah, that's why I don't want to do it. But in case, anyone is wondering, again, people can just watch the match, right? But I just can't put the picture. That's the way to take a look at it. But still, I thought it was a pretty cool achievement nonetheless. However, even besides that though, when I take a look at it, people like to tell me that, oh, why is Zebec even focusing on stuff like this? Well, again, they had a partnership with Tangem, and then, of course, they did this alongside Tangem, supposedly. So I think it's a pretty cool thing at the end of the day when it comes to Zebec. Now, keep in mind, right? Zebec is not necessarily ever going to become the most popular project out there, but does it need to? At 10 cents, the market cap at that point would be around 9.8 billion, and that's even if we consider the current circulating supply of ZBCN, in which case, it's not such an outlandish market cap. Keep in mind, in the updated tokenomics, so when it comes to Zebec, what was announced, right? They announced how when it comes to ZBCN, there was supposedly going to be like a mechanism or something like that, in which case could hypothetically maybe, I would say, reduce the circulating supply when it comes to ZBCN. The reason why is because some of the revenue that they're going to get, supposedly, from the Zebec programs, they were going to be doing that to reacquire ZBCN, in which case, if I'm not even talking about Zebec, if let's say a project naturally has less of a circulating supply, and let's say there was big demand, wouldn't that sometimes translate to a positive thing? It's like, again, if the supply is less, usually things become more rare. So in which case, if let's say it could reduce the circulating supply of ZBCN, in theory, the market cap needed to reach 10 cents wouldn't be as much. Because let's just take this into consideration. Circulating supply of ZBCN as of right now is like around 98 billion, right? Imagine if suddenly, for whatever reason, the circulating supply became 90 billion. Now at that point, the market cap needed to reach 10 cents would only be 9 billion considering the current circulating supply, because again, 90 billion times 10 cents is 9 billion. So again, we'll wait and see how that mechanism really plays out eventually in the long run. Like, how much would it actually reduce the circulating supply of ZBCN by? Again, we'll have to wait and see. But if it could reduce it, like maybe even just 5% or 10% would be so fantastic. But again, we'll wait and see. But if it could do that, I think that'd be pretty awesome. So I think Zebec still has things planned, right? I mean, that was a pretty cool thing. Launching the super app was, I think, a pretty good achievement. Also, on top of that, we take a look at Zebec achieving ISO 20022 compliance. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's still things going on when it comes to Zebec. Even if, let's say, we assume the circulating supply stays the same when it comes to ZBCN, let's say it didn't increase or it didn't reduce, let's just say we assume it's the same. Again, the market cap needed to reach 10 cents would be around 9.8 billion. Like, it's not something so outlandish that we've never seen. We've seen Shiba Inu pretty much 4x that, right? In 2021, in terms of market cap. We've seen Dogecoin pretty much 8 times that, right? Or should I say 8x that back in 2021 in terms of market cap, in which case Dogecoin reached over 80 billion in terms of market cap. So this is not such a outlandish market cap that we've never ever seen before. That doesn't seem to hypothetically be the case, in my opinion. But besides that point, we're around 47.5 times lower than that, though, right? Again, we're around 47.5 times lower than 10 cents. In which case, if I'm looking to exit, this is not good, of course. But if I'm looking to, basically dollar cost average, this would be a pretty cool thing for me, because preferably I like to dollar cost average at a lower point. Now, could ZBCN go lower? Maybe. But despite that, though, because I cannot control that, what I do is I dollar cost average once a month. That's kind of my mindset. So if I dollar cost average like up here, let's say this month, and then next month it goes down here, okay, it's not a big deal because I'm still holding, and by me dollar cost averaging at this lower point, I'm kind of trying to bring the average down, right? But if it goes up again, sure, I'll still be dollar cost averaging, but these moments, they kind of even it out. That's the way you take a look at it. Because if I can't dollar cost average anymore, sure, I mean, it's fine anyways if I still believe in the project, but it makes it a little bit more fun if I could still dollar cost average, right? So because I'll never be able to know how low things could go, I just dollar cost average once a month and that's it, and I just wait. And I feel like when it comes to ZBCN, if it ever hypothetically even ever reaches 10 cents in a make-believe random scenario, would it really matter? At one point, I acquired ZBCN at below 1 cent. I think probably it wouldn't really matter that much because, sure, okay, acquiring ZBCN at like half a cent or something like that would, of course, be a lot more preferable than like 1 cent, right? But even if it's like 20% of 1 cent or like 30% of 1 cent or whatever, in the long run, if it ever even hypothetically reaches 10 cents, the movement upwards have been so significant at that point, in which case anything below 1 cent would feel a little bit negligible. Because this is kind of my mindset. Because even still Bitcoin right now with the pullback is like below 70 grand. However, I think that had anyone acquired Bitcoin at below 1,000 and still held up until right now, would it really matter if they acquired it at like 999 or at like $20 or something? Well, because the journey has been so extensive, at a certain point, it doesn't really matter anymore. Now, if someone acquired like Bitcoin at 1,000 and it just went to 2,000, of course, the ones who acquired at like 100 or 200, the difference that they had between the person who acquired at 1,000 would be so significant, right? But because it's now at like over 60 grand, sure, the ones who acquired at way lower are up a lot more, but at the same time, the one who acquired at 1 grand is still also hypothetically doing pretty okay if they're still holding, even as of right now. So I feel like at a certain point, things become a little bit negligible. So this is why anything below 1 cent, I'm not going to really complain about that when it comes to ZBCN, but this is just my mindset. So if I acquire it at like half a cent or whatever, or even below that, or even more than that, it's like whatever. That's the way you take a look at it, because I feel like if at a certain point it does ever hypothetically reach 10 cents, those differences right there aren't really going to matter too much, at least personally for me. But I'm not telling anyone to do anything, so that's why, again, I just dollar cost average once a month, and I just like to stay patient, and I think that's pretty much it. I can't really do anything more than that, but at the same time, seeing Zebec appear in the recent soccer match between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, I thought that was pretty cool. And by the way, I've been to Dortmund. I've also been to Munich, which I thought was really awesome. I like visiting there. Also, I went to Stuttgart. I went to Frankfurt. I also went to Hanover. A bunch of cities, right? So yeah, I just think it's really cool. I'd like to go back there again, hopefully one day. But I've been to Germany twice. So yeah, just wanted to make this update. And hopefully I'll see y'all on the next one, because I'm going to be making more updates when it comes to Zebec, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.